Thanks so much, Chris. We're going to stay with Melissa for a moment. One chef from Atlanta is trying to stay in touch with family as long as he can. Sylvester Police Chief Ronald Jackson says that he cannot comment as the case is being investigated by the sheriff's office. We'll continue to follow that case on air and online at WALB.com. Well, we begin with a live look this morning in Jamaica. Wind gusts and outer rain bands from Hurricane Melissa are already impacting the island. Forecasters now calling this the strongest storm this year and a rare Category 5. It was supposed to go into effect on Saturday. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, who has expressed concern about the rule change, asked the Division 1 Board of Directors for a reversal. Drove to Atlanta's airport with an intent to carry out a mass shooting is now facing federal charges. 49-year-old Billy Cagle was arrested after his family in Cartersville alerted police. Cartersville police then contacted the Atlanta Police Department, who made the arrest inside the airport. A new survey says 57% of moms and dads are already burned out. Experts say that stress can take a toll on you and your kids. Alexa Lorenzo shares some simple ways you can recharge and reset before the chaos begins.
So much fun, like being here for the first time and then having the city of Albany welcome us and invite us to handle the Christmas parade and really walk the South Georgia community through it. Yeah. Oh my God, what an honor.
Whether it's problem solving with a squishy circuit, testing your coding skills with the mouse maze, or letting your thoughts out with a podcast, the Girl Scouts Dream Lab has everything to spark the imagination. There are roughly 200 predominantly black counties or parishes in the United States. 19 of those are in Georgia, including Dougherty County, which is about 70% black. This can be traced back to the black men and women who helped lead South Georgia to agricultural dominance during the times of slavery. The Andersonville National Prisoners of War Museum stands as a reminder of the resilience that all prisoners of war held onto in their darkest times. As we celebrate the 4th of July, this is a reminder of their sacrifice. 1963, a 38.5-foot tall totem pole stood here in downtown Moultrie, and now all that's left is a plaque and the memory of the man that carved it.
The term now is more not geared toward the rich soil, which is still good for growing cotton, tobacco, and different things like that. It's generated more toward the culture because of the deep, rich population of African Americans and people of color in this particular area. So that's how the black belt has stuck in that way.
The Black Belt is comprised of several states, mainly those in the southeast, including Georgia. Because cotton farming requires strenuous labor, tobacco planters in Virginia brought enslaved black people to work the cotton fields in southwest Georgia.
Most of the economic base was generated through the huge populations of slavery. The Flint River was where the cotton was transported.
Because of the climate that's here, it was easy to produce it here, and it was able to go to not just keeping it local, but going across the ocean.
The Flint River became like a highway for transporting goods, not only to other states, but to Liverpool in the United Kingdom. At the time, this put Albany on the map as the top cotton producer in the nation and around the world.
Because of the Flint River, you're able to get product down the river, but it was the main source of transport before trains got to South Georgia, and they go hand in hand, and you want to get the product out so that way you can produce more revenue. And so we were, in a sense, Dougherty County, Albany is a strategic location to where you were able to use that river to get the product out.
Later on, as black people were freed from slavery, many stayed in the area. Today, Albany still has one of the highest percentages of black residents in the state. The history of the Black Belt helped cement South Georgia as an agricultural leader in the country.
When W.E.B. Du Bois wrote his book, it really stuck because he declared this area, because of the heavy population of slavery, to be the Black Belt, the Egypt of the South.
It played a huge part in the development of the civilization.
Over time, many formerly enslaved black people stayed in South Georgia, becoming sharecroppers. Few went on to become independent farmers due to the systemic and financial barriers of the time. Those who stayed in the Black Belt continued their sacrifice in the struggle for civil rights and equality. Riley Armant, WALB, your hometown news source. That memory is being preserved by local historians like Faye Bridwell. She's a volunteer for the Museum of Colquitt County.
William E., he went by Bill Aycock, born 1875 in Whitesburg, Georgia. He actually served in the Spanish-American War. Came here 1899, 1900 to begin with. The booming lumber business brought him here. Right away he became involved with creating the Chamber of Commerce, served as first president about 1910.
From that point on, Mr. Aycock became a fixture in the community, putting the town of Moultrie on the map with the creation of the first county fair and the famous celebration of lights in Moultrie in 1934. In addition to the Chamber of Commerce, Aycock was also involved with the Cattle and Stockyard Association.
He made a trip years early out to Washington State and became impressed with the Native American totem poles that he would see on that trip. He came back with the idea adapting it to our agriculture and livestock businesses here.
As the city continued to grow and make a name for itself, he wanted to create a symbol that encapsulated Moultrie's contribution to Georgia's #1 industry.
Back then we were raising a lot of cattle. Peanuts were huge. Tobacco was a huge cash crop at the time. So to look at the totem pole was our history. That's what he wanted to highlight.
Aycock used a 302-year-old cypress tree he found along the Ochlockonee River for his vision, and that began to take shape at age 88.
It took him 4.5 months going down to row crop at top, a carving of a polled heifer bull's head, followed by the head of an Aberdeen Angus bull. Next was a shorthorn and a Holstein calf. Next comes a 2-foot-long peanut, stalk of corn, leaf of tobacco, stalk of cotton, and finally at the bottom, a glass-enclosed bulletin board.
Barber also told me that on October 17th, 1963, the symbol of agricultural diversity stood in the center of the town on the lawn of the Moultrie Courthouse. For about 12 years, it was a main attraction in Colquitt County. That was until the pole had to be taken down for repairs. However, it was never restored.
They took it down for some maintenance, but when they got it down, they realized it was in worse shape than they thought it was. It was really rotten on the inside and it had termites.
The totem pole was supposed to be taken to pest control to get rid of those termites and then to a high school to be repainted. But
again, they never said where its final resting place was. So it's still a mystery to this day where exactly this totem pole ended up.
you can help solve the mystery of the missing Moultrie totem pole by contacting Downtown Moultrie or the Museum of Colquitt County if you know where a piece is. Riley Armant, WALB, your hometown news source.
Freedom is not free, and this place, the museum, the cemetery, the prison site out there, it is like living history of that.
The museum in Andersonville is the only one in the entire United States that depicts the heavy experience of Americans who were prisoners of war, all wars, both at home and abroad.
The experiences of prisoners of war, whether you're talking about in the Revolutionary War or all the way up through Vietnam, their experiences are very, very similar. Boredom is huge. In Andersonville specifically, they did a lot of gambling, racing their lice off a hot tin plate, different things like that for entertainment, but also thinking of ways to escape.
It was once known as Fort Sumter, housing tens of thousands of Union prisoners of war. About 1 in 4 of them died here, but one symbol helped keep hope alive for survivors, both here and in other POW camps, the American flag.
When they get home, almost across the board, whether you're talking about a Civil War prisoner or someone from Vietnam, they talk about the first time that they see the American flag after their captivity. Tears, cheers, all of those emotions.
I had a very good friend of mine, his name was Silas Barnes, was captured at Corregidor in Philippines in World War II and spent 4 years in a Japanese POW camp.
Charles Nicholson had a friend held as a prisoner of war and shares some of what his friend endured.
They didn't have a calendar. They didn't know what day it was most of the time. You know, the Japanese were really pretty hard on prisoners.
You'll read diaries of men who were here. They talk about what a terrible way to spend the 4th of July, but they also found ways to celebrate it in their own way. They snuck pieces of it, the flag, in to the prison at Andersonville here together.
As we celebrate America's independence with fireworks, family, and friends, we should remember that this holiday carries a weight far beyond celebration for American prisoners of war.
You know, freedom, somebody has to fight for it. It's not free. Somebody paid their life for your freedom. That's in the Revolutionary War all the way up through this current Afghanistan and Iraq.
The museum is about an hour away from Albany, but worth the drive to learn about those who endured captivity for the promise of freedom. Riley Armant, WALB, your hometown news source.